Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Ben's Camera Show. Oh my God, what a week I've had. I hope you've had a better week than I have. Holy crap. Oh my God, it's been a not such a good week for me, to be honest. Yeah, I took a bad beat financially. I took a couple of bad beats financially. One of them was not quite my fault, but I should have known better. The other was totally my fault. I'm not going to go into details, but put it this way: I'm eating bread crusts for the next week and potato peelings, and then I got to think, damn, this whole capitalist system we're living under. I mean, really, is it the best way to go? I mean, isn't there not another way where I mean, with this show, I love doing this show. You know why? Because I control the means of production. That's right. Yeah, those words sound familiar to you? Well, you must have been reading a bit of Karl Marx, because I started wondering whether this financial monetary system we're living under is really the right one for me. Yeah. So then I thought, well, haven't they tried something different back in the day? I seem to remember back in the day, before COVID, before ISIS, and before terrorism. What did they used to scare us with? Yes, that's right, the Soviet Union. Good evening, comrades. Good evening to Ben's Camera Show, whatever it's called. And tonight we are talking cameras from the USSR. That is right. Yes, the USSR, for those of you who are born after 1990 or 1991, whenever it was. When I was growing up, the USSR were the ones who were going to kill us all. That's right. They were going to send nuclear missiles that were going to kill. They're going to destroy London and irradiate the rest of England, and make all our skin fall off and our hair fall out. That's right. They were a scary bunch back in the day. And then we found out that actually they were pretty. Well, they were falling apart, and then they fell apart, and everyone was happy for about a week, and then they thought of something else to scare us with. So in the meantime, the USSR, I'm not going to say Russia, because the USSR was, of course, more than Russia. It was a few different countries, but mostly Russia. They made some cameras. Let me take this ridiculous hat off first. There we go. And while I'm at it, I will take this one off as well. Those are my only Russian hats there. So, right, yes. So welcome to Ben's Camera Show, comrades. And yeah, this week, well, I decided this a long time ago. This show's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming because I decided when I was working out what to do for season 2, I thought, well, I haven't really gone into the whole camera culture and the movie cameras they made back in the USSR back in the day. So I thought, well, let's do a whole show just about that kind of technology. Not only Russian, but Soviet technology. I'm going to use the word Soviet wherever possible instead of Russian, because I think there was a film factory in the Ukraine. I think that was the Svema factory was in Ukraine. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, and let me tell you, I went down such a bleeding rabbit hole. I mean, it was fun. I don't do this show other than to have fun. God knows I don't make any money out of it. But I control the means of production, and that's the main thing. And I went down such a rabbit hole. I found out so much stuff about the USSR, about their camera industry, about the cameras themselves, about not just cameras, but their developing kit, their film stock, and everything. Damn, it was a lot of information. And we're not having a live guest tonight because the only Russian guy I know who I invited on the show as a guest, who's all into cameras and stuff. He says his English isn't quite good enough, but he was very kind and wrote written responses to all the questions I had for this show. So I'll be reading out his responses throughout the show, amongst other stuff. In fact, I'll be reading quite a lot of stuff. I've got pages and pages of notes here, so you're gonna have to bear with me while I read some of it out to you, because to be honest, before this show started, I didn't know an awful lot about the Russian camera industry. Now I know a little bit more, but it's more than I can store in this old brain of mine, so I'm gonna have to read them out. So bear with me. Also, the show might run a bit long. Yes, it might run a bit long because even though I don't have a guest, I have so much to show you tonight. Holy moly. If you are thinking of buying a Russian camera, a Soviet-made camera, stay to the end because there's lots and lots to go into. So, without further ado, let me welcome all the people down in the chat room. All the usual suspects are there. Benjamin Marriott, UK Airsoft, the restoration of Doctor Who, Ben Reynolds. Hey, hi guys, everyone. Yusuf Khan. Thank you, comrades, for joining me. And, well, hopefully by the end of this, we will have all learned something. I will have learned not to take on such a massive subject in trying to wrap it up in one single hour. Right. Well, where can I start? Let's start with what I've been up to this week. Why don't I start with what I'm up to? Well, the comments are going crazy. Viva Zenit Quartz. Yep, Zenit is one of the things I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about Zenit. I'm going to be talking about Krasnogorsk. I'm going to talk about Lomo. And any Russian who's joining us tonight, please forgive my crappy pronunciation of your lovely language. So, without further ado, let's go and see what I was doing this week. Well, this week, what did I do this week? Let's have a look. Oh, where have I gone? Here I am. I didn't disappear in the night. The NKVD didn't come for me. Oh God, there's going to be a lot of communist Soviet KGB kind of jokes tonight, and I apologize for any Russians out there. There's a lot of stereotypes out there, and even my wife told me, listen, I hope you're going to be respectful to these lovely people, not just sort of take the piss out of them. But yes, absolutely I am. By the end of the show, you'll all want to burn your passports and go to Russia. All right, what did I do? Right, okay, firstly, I had potatoes for dinner. That's right, I had potatoes and I saved the peelings because after last week's show, I was inspired by the great Dagi Brundert to boil up my potato peelings and make a developer out of them with chili powder and with rosemary, and boiled all that lot up for about 3 or 4 hours. And I made about 300 milliliters of a rather disgusting looking kind of soup. And then I put it outside in the snow, of course, for the Russian experience. And it looked like this, which I had to filter about 4 times to get all the gloop out of it. That's the filter after, that's the muslin after I'd finished. And here I warmed it up to 20 degrees about, and here it is next to some Rodinol. Rodinol's on the left. I called it dinner roll because I had potatoes for dinner. So the dinner roll, after 5 minutes in some UN54, looked like this. 10 minutes. 15 minutes, looking a bit bleached out there. I reckon about 10 minutes. And to compare it to Rodinol, looks like that. Looked about the same. God, I rattled through that fast. But I'm going to have to rattle through this whole show. I've got so much to tell you. So before I go any further, I Made about 300 milliliters of the organic kind of potato rosemary chili soup. I added 50 grams of sodium carbonate and 16 grams of vitamin C. Right? And then I went out shooting. I went out shooting with my Zenit Quartz zoom camera, which I'm going to show you in a minute. In fact, let's show it. Let's start with the camera. I'm going to tease you here. Let's start with the camera. Now I've not that. No, not that either. Right, we've done with that. Let's get the gloves on. Now I've shown you my Zenit Quartz zoom. I've shown it on, I think it was on the very first episode of this show. That's right. I showed it on episode 1. If you want to see the full rundown of this wonderful camera, then check out episode 1. I'm going to give a very, very quick rundown now. Let's get into my my little box here. Firstly, and boing, here I am. Right, the Zenit Quartz zoom. Oh, I've just lost all my notes here. So I've shown you this before. I'll get that CCPP off the screen there. So yeah, this is a camera. This is a camera, of course. This is a standard 8 camera. A 8mm. Oh God, my keyboard. God, no, it's all going wrong. Right. It's a lovely camera. I refer you to series 1, episode 1 of the show. For the full rundown of this. You've got your your f-stops here. You've got your zoom here. It's got one of those nice little zoom levers. It can be back wound. It can be back wound with a little with this thing. Ooh, yeah, washer's come off. I don't know what that washer is. So yeah, with this little handle here, you can actually put it in there and rewind the film and do double exposures. Oh God, my chroma key's all over the place. Again, never mind about that. And it's got your film speed variation here, 16 frames a second, 24, 48. And it's got ASA settings, got its own light meter. This was made in the Soviet Union. And there were a few before this, which were also quite nice. But this is, I think, a very nice one. You can take the handle off. You can't take the lens off. But it's a Zenit Quartz zoom. Oh, wait a minute. I ought to just put up the... there we go. Quartz zoom. They make them without the zoom lenses. Perfectly good. But I like a good zoom lens. And here is the most excellent lens cap. It's the best lens cap I have. You unscrew it and you get hypnotized as you do it. There we go. Beautiful. It's heavy. It's made of metal. It's a hell of... What the hell is going on with my keyboard today? Sorry, everyone. Right. Oh, look, I think some Russians have joined us in the chat. Dinner in Russian is obed. You can call the developer obedol. That's a nice one. That's a good one. Yeah, obedol. I quite like dinner roll because there's a thing called, I think it's an American thing. It's a thing called a dinner roll. Yeah, it's called potato roll. I don't know. Obedol. I like that, obedol. I like that because there's no equivalent in English about that. So a Zenit Quartz zoom. Heavy camera, all made of metal, still working. Of course, it's a wind up. Funnily enough, when I wind it up to its very, very full extent and then start shooting, about, I don't know, 5 seconds after starting to shoot, the whole camera gives this kind of jump. There's something in the lens here, in the spring, which is a little bit kind of off. I'm going to wind it all the way up. You won't even be able to tell. Anyway, let's get the microphone, the extra microphone on here, and listen to this. Oh. Okay, here we go. Oh, you hear that? It still works. It's just that if you're filming and it's wound up all the way, you will get that. But that's just my camera. That's not all of them. If you can get one of these, I would recommend it. If it's a standard 8 camera, it shoots a very nice roll of standard 8. In fact, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, and the handle. I showed this on the very first episode, but this is amazing. Let's get that CCPP off the. We don't need to see that. Well. Oh God, my chroma key all over. You know, whenever I do a chroma key test, it looks absolutely fine, and then when the show starts, it's all just horrible. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. You're going to have to, again, bear with me. Bear with me, as in the Russian bear. Oh. No, that's worse. Here we go. There we go. That's a bit better. So, oh God, it's even... No, that isn't better. That's that's horrible. Let's switch off the chroma key. Why not? Let's just say, what the hell? You're going to have a green screen instead, and that's a bit less distracting. Look at this. You open the handle, and what's this inside? Ooh, what's that? Microfilm? No, it's a brush. It's a lens brush inside the handle, and I think that might be sable. But look, lovely. Thanks, communists, for thinking of that. You didn't have to do that, but it was nice that you did. So, let's see what I shot with this thing. Right. That. Whoops. Right. Let's see. What have we got? Let's go in the screening room and see what I shot with this. Oh, we've seen that. We've seen that. Right. Some music, maybe. I went to Highgate Cemetery, which is... Well, I didn't go quite into Highgate Cemetery because they charge £2.50 to get in there, and you have to book in advance. You know, so screw that. I'm not paying extra to go in there. Hello, Amy. That's my daughter. And one of my daughters. Yes. We looked at it through the railings. And then we went to this place, which is called Waterloo Park, which is just north of Highgate Cemetery. Right. It's free to get into. But you can film through the railings to Highgate Cemetery if you're a bit cheap. And if you look hard through the railings for no money, you can see, hey, it's Karl Marx! Workers of the world unite, and don't pay the entry fee because you can see it from Waterloo Park, from the southern side of Waterloo Park. There's Karl Marx's grave. That's where he's buried. And if you're not into, you know, maybe if you just want to flirt with communism, you can go to the rather middle class Waterloo Park and see it through the railings, and then look at some ducks. And here's a double exposure. Here's a weather that I did with that wind mechanism that I showed you before. Nice. There's me. And yeah, nice camera. Did the job. The job's a good one. It did it very well. This is Orwell UN54, fresh black and white film stock. And some rather useless shots of the road. Oh, it was freezing cold. It's freezing cold today. My God, anyone in the UK? Bloody hell, it was five below tonight, and that's like -40 for the Russians. 5 below. Holy crap! I've been freezing my bum off all day long. So yeah, the work camera works, the film works, and yeah, I got a good result there. Oh God, why do I keep doing that? Because I've got a USSR type entry here. Let's get myself back on the big screen because we've got stuff to talk about. Hey, right. There we go. We're back east. Oh, some comments are coming in. John says it's radioactive. I don't know if he's talking about the camera. Is that where Karl Marx was? Well, I've answered that. Yes, Ben Reynolds. That is Karl Marx. We saw, and funnily enough, the Highgate Cemetery not only charges you to get in to look at Karl Marx, but they sell sort of Karl Marx related tchotchkes. And if you go to the grave and you listen carefully, you can hear him spinning in his grave. Anyway, you can. I mean, it's cool. And funnily enough, right beside Karl Marx, or right across the path from Karl Marx, is the grave of Max Wall. Anyone who's into old style comedy and music hall and stuff knows who Max Wall is. I'm sure about 1% of my audience, maybe 1% of 1% knows who Max Wall was. But yeah, he's buried right next to Karl Marx. Hey, Tio Manny's in the house. Hi, Tio. Hi, Tio. Hi, Manny. Right. Let me look at my notes. We've got a lot to get to, and I've already forgotten. I've already forgotten what my next thing is. Right. Yes, the Russians. Well, I'm going to show you a little bit of a footage here. Not that I shot, but this is worth seeing. It really is. This is a film. I'm not going to show the whole thing. There was a film in 1929. A guy called Dziga Vertov made a film called Man with a Movie Camera. Now, in 1929, in the West, in Hollywood, they hadn't quite figured out all the stuff you can do with movie cameras. In fact, if you've seen some really old, like the late 20s films, they've basically anchored the camera to the floor and just filmed whatever goes on the soundstage. If you've seen the very first Marx Brothers film that they filmed called The Coconuts, it's like watching a stage production. In fact, the Marx Brothers went on tour with that whole production and then just basically did it in front of a camera. The camera was big, it was noisy, they had to keep it in a special box so it didn't interfere with the sound. They were not, let me put it this way, they were not particularly adventurous with the camera in the West. Okay, some people might have been. But this Vertov guy was ahead of the curve. He did some amazing stuff with a camera. He did stuff that you and I and all the other people who are kind of, amateur filmmakers, don't have a special effects budget or anything like that, just want to fool around with a camera. He did amazing stuff. I'm not going to show the entire film because it's an hour long, but oh my God, he put the camera in all sorts of places. He did effects. In fact, I've got a list of some of the stuff he did. This is worth seeing. He filmed, he messed around. He filmed the audience watching the film. Look, he put a camera on a car. He filmed in, let me see, over 3 years. He filmed recording under a moving train, over a waterfall. He messed around with double exposures, with fast motion, with slow motion, freeze frames, jump cuts, split screens, close-ups, stop motion animation, and visual metaphors, just to name a few of the things he did. He messed about like crazy with this camera. Look, there he's doing a bit of stop motion. Man with a Movie Camera, it's called. I urge any amateur filmmaker to watch it. It must have blown people's minds back in the day. I'm just skipping around here. There's the film being edited. There's an eye and a lens there. It's an amazing film. In fact, there's films made today which don't have a half of the creativity of this film. I saw it at the Tate Britain. They had a screening of it about 10 years ago, and the bloody idiots didn't even put any music on it. We had everyone in the cinema just sat in complete silence and watched this. So yeah, those look at that slow motion. Oh my God, people must have gone insane when they saw this. He filmed basically. It's all just sort of what's it called? Sort of documentary kind of style film. In fact, Vertov said that films that had plots and scripts were decadent and Western, and real film should only show the reality of life. So, well, I mean, think of that what you may. I mean, if Vertov had his way, there would be no Iron Man movies. So he wasn't. I don't think he was right about everything, but it's a great film to have a look at. Man with a Movie Camera. We're not here to to go to film school. But that film it influenced Alfred Hitchcock in Vertigo. He influenced Stanley Kubrick's 2001, and even more recently Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream. Definitely worth having a look. Yes, Manny, Pudovkin, Eisenstein, amazing stuff. Ichabod says there's a nice Blu-ray from the BFI. Manny said, I saw it at the Field Museum. Good. I'm glad to see my audience have got a bit cine literate. I'm glad to hear that. I don't have to tell you about all the other stuff that he did. Right. Next. Well, I've shown you the quartz zoom. I've shown you the dinner roll. I've shown you the Highgate show. Right. Well, let's have a look. Let's have a listen, or rather a listen, to some of the things my friend Pavel Sidor-Matrasov said. I asked him when I was researching this show, what are the unique characteristics of cameras and developing equipment made in the USSR? And he said, okay, I'm going to read this out, and I'll rattle through it as quickly as I can, but it's really interesting stuff. He said, the basic principle of the production of motion picture cameras in the USSR was a gradual transition from model to model using interchangeable parts and mechanisms so that old drawings and dimensions could be used all the time. I think he meant blueprints. Only occasionally making small improvements. You see, the deal was, I'm talking with my own language here, off my own bat, which is that in the Soviet Union, the camera developments and the camera designs and the cameras sold were not subject to the free market. Okay, that's a bit of a no-brainer. But it meant that that the improvements to cameras were not based on what sold well the last time. They were based on the decisions of a design bureau. And then they would instruct the camera factories to make a certain number of cameras that month. The institution that synchronized all this was the Moscow-based Gosplan, a giant bureaucratic organization otherwise known as the Plan Bureau. The Soviet Union was infamous for its many factories that would receive a monthly order from the Plan Bureau. This is the best bit. They would slack off in producing the order during the first few weeks of the month because there wasn't really any incentive to be working harder than anyone else because you weren't rewarded for it anyway, and then panic during the last week or so and churn out loads of partly defective products just to meet the requirements. This was so blatant that the Russian population even learned how to distinguish from the serial numbers products made in the last weeks of the month and ignore them for better ones. I'm quoting from a website called cameras.alfredklomp.com. I'm gonna read out all my sources at the end of this. I feel like I'm at school here. Quote my sources, but that's amazing. That towards the end of the month, they to make the quota, they skipped a few steps and did a bit of churned out a few lemons, shall we say? So yeah, if you were in the market to buy one of these cameras, in fact, quickly, let's have a look at how much one. Oh, get my mug off the picture here. Let's see how much one of those quartz zooms is going to cost you. Oh, it's not bad. $39.90, $129.95. That's a bit steep. I better have all the accessories. $39.99, £30, $35. I mean, in dollars, I don't know. Just translate. It's about equivalent to dollar prices. Maybe add a little $10 each for each of these. £35, £74. That's the camera I just showed you, by the way. The brochure just for £15. Get the hell out of here. $71.89. Well, they go. I mean, the prices are kind of variable, and a lot depends on whether you got yourself a camera that was made at the beginning of the month or the end of the month. So that's the quartz. Remember, quartz without the T. See that it says quartz. That's the translation. Whatever. Take what you will. Yeah, I would recommend a quartz zoom. Why not? You know, if you got a few quid and I don't know, 30 quid for a standard 8 camera, that's not bad. Let's see what Pavel Sidor-Matrasov said about the design of these cameras, because it's really fascinating here. He said, because I was wondering about all of this, he said, Soviet cameras were united by a characteristic design. They're made of metal with very little use of plastics. The Russians didn't have quite the plastics technology that the West had. This was mainly due to the fact that optical and mechanical factories that produced photographic equipment were primarily intended for the production of defense and scientific projects, in which a significant part was made up of metal parts. The production of plastics for civilian products in the USSR has always been undeveloped in comparison with the Western industry. But the quality of metalworking and optics was at a high level. Many quartz with good maintenance and respect will most likely be able to serve for centuries and, if necessary, can be easily repaired. That is key for these Soviet cameras. And it's funny, in a way, the Soviet Union dissolved and, is just a memory now. But the cameras they made live on because they were heavy, they were made of metal, and they're still working, such as this one. So, yeah, take a chance. He goes on to say the fact that many Soviet cameras have a spring mechanism is explained by the fact that production of batteries in the USSR was very small. This industry was also mainly aimed at military support. AA batteries were difficult to buy in stores and almost impossible in small towns and villages. It was also supposed to use movie cameras in very different climatic conditions, from the deserts of Soviet Asia to the cold regions of the north. My God, it got cold there. I'm complaining about 5 below, but down in, Siberia, it's bloody -40 right now. And hey, I don't have to say if it's 40 Celsius or Fahrenheit, because -40 is the same on both scales. There's a little factoid for you. This made use of electrical mechanisms difficult to predict and put consumers in an unequal position. The production of electric drives for cameras became somewhat more active only by the 1980s, on the eve of the end of the USSR, and these cameras can no longer be called reliable. Yeah, Soviet electrics. I don't know if I would rely on that. So in a way, funnily enough, because of the privations of the USSR, the cameras they made are still working, unless they were made towards the end of the month. Ben Reynolds says, Ben, this is my film school. Bloody hell. Good luck, mate. Del G says the Quartz 5 is a personal favorite. Yeah. Ichabod says, bit like the Bolex cameras. Yeah, Bolex had it right. They knew how to build a tough, solid camera. That's for damn sure. Right, let's skip all over the place. Right, that was a standard 8 camera that I just showed you. How about Super 8? Did the Russians use Super 8? That's a bit of a decadent Western concept. Super 8, reusable plastic cartridges that can just be thrown away. They certainly did. They made this. This is the Quartz 1x8S1. Now, I assume the 1x8 means that it wasn't a double 8 camera. And the S, I guess, is Super 8, and 1 is the first one they made. I think they made a few. They made a few that went up in number. 1, 2, 3, whatever. Let's have a closer look at this one, because I haven't shown this on the show before. I haven't shown it before because it's buggered. This particular one is broken, unfortunately. Well, it's not. It sort of mostly works, but not in the areas that really matter. It's a wind-up. Very, very few Super 8 cameras are wind-up cameras. In fact, I think this is the only one, to be honest. So you wind it up. Here you test out. You put your you select your running speed. It does 8 frames per second, 12, 18, 24, and 32. Let's zoom in a bit on it, so we can see what the hell's going on here. Okay, here is your exposure. It says A and M, that's for auto and manual. just turn this knob, and inside the viewfinder, which you're not going to be able to see because, of course, it's impossible to see that through the webcam. But you can see a little. Oh, maybe you can see it. Let's try. I mean, why not? I got time. I'm not going anywhere. Oh God, this is terrible. I think to put a quartz zoom. No, it's not. Ooh, see through the viewfinder. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, just about. So you get a little needle. There it is. There, you see. And you can change that between F4, F16. There it is. You can change. So there's your needle just to show what f-stop you're at. That's the best I can do with that, I'm afraid. It has a lens, of course. It has a zoom lens, which is rather nice. There's your... Oh, come on, let's hear that. Let's hear that. And here's how it sounds. That's a healthy 18 frames a second right there. And on the other side, not much. It's got a daylight filter, and it's got a plus or minus diopter thing. You can increase your f-stop throughout the entire film or decrease right there. And there's your footage counter down there. And inside, what do we have? Well, we've got your basic... Oh, God, it's a bit stiff, this. Bloody end of the month, bastards didn't... There it goes. Yeah, it came with a part inside that had fallen off, obviously. It goes around... No, you can hear the motor, as I showed you before. But this bit doesn't go around, unfortunately. Not only that, but I thought, oh, well, maybe I could just shoot a few seconds before the film bunches up inside the cartridge. No, the claw doesn't actually engage with the film. This camera is in need of repair, and God knows who can repair these things. There's a couple of interesting things, though, I'm going to show you about this camera, which is that what the lens here, well, it comes off. You know, a lot of decent cameras, really good quality ones, the lens comes off. However, you can shoot without the lens. It's not a true lens. There's actually another lens inside here, which when you can film without the lens, and this is just for the zooming, funnily enough. So if you get one of these and you don't have enough space in your bag or whatever, then you can just take the lens off and you can still film. You can't zoom, but you can still film. And of course, you can take the handle off. There we go. Unscrew this. A lot of these things have removable handles. And there, that basic camera body is enough to shoot with, which is pretty amazing. That's the Zenit Quartz 1x8S-1. There's an 8S-2, -3, all sorts of stuff like that. Oh, who's that? Crazy Welter Clarion says, I have it too. Lovely, simple, reliable. I'm glad for you, mate, because this particular one, you must have got one that was made at the beginning of the month when they had time to do all that. My one, I don't know. I'm going to have to try and fix it. God knows. I mean, I've got enough on my damn plate without having to trying to fix a camera that was made 30 years ago. So that's the Zenit Quartz. Now, what else do I have to say about this one? The only wind-up Super 8 camera. Yes, let's see how much they cost. Let's see if you want to buy one of these things. What we've got here, I'm a bit lazy here. All I do is go on eBay and look at the price that the $4.99. There must be something wrong with that. I mean, really? Oops. Let's see. Zenit Quartz. Yeah, fully working with stuff. £99.95. They're a bit of a cult camera, these things. Ben Reynolds says, and can you mount an anamorphic projector lens on the front? No idea. Try it out. Why not? Go for it. Stunning one here for case with accessories. £40. That's not a bad deal. Another £99. 25. The prices are all over the place. You know, some of them are damn cheap, and some of them are expensive. Let's see this. I think they also made a double Super 8 version. Double Super 8. That's something for another show. That's basically that's like standard 8 but with Super 8 sprocket holes, and you can slit it in half afterwards, and yeah. So look at this. Oh, 6501. Damn, if I didn't have 1,000 bloody cameras already, I would think about getting one of these. That's a later one there. Meteor. Zoom is Meteor. Well, you know, if you want to wind up Super 8 camera, you don't have to ever worry about batteries. You don't worry. You're not too fussed about using a camera with a selenium light meter battery. Go for it. You know, I mean, that seems to be a bit of a bit of a common theme with this Soviet equipment, is that, you know, it's great stuff if you get a good one. And there are more than a few lemons out there, I'm afraid. In fact, let's have a look at some of the other cameras that they made in the USSR. I had fun last night. I went online and I found many cameras that they made. Look at this one. This is oh damn it, I've got it written down somewhere. This is an aerial camera. This is the kind of camera, and remember that a lot of these camera factories were actually in the service of the military. That they were, you know, the domestic market was really came in second place. This is an ASK-1 aerial camera. This crazy looking thing. I guess this was on a camera that they put on a plane to film the ground. What else we got? This is I love this. This was made for the KGB. This is a camera. This is a briefcase camera that they used for secretly spying on people. It's a flat 16mm camera that went into this kind of dock here, and that whole thing went into a briefcase, which I guess must have had some kind of shutter release in the handle, and your KGB guy would, you know, film people meeting in the street with this thing. Look at that. It's really flat and really oblong like that. Here's a later model. It had a bit of a corner cut off. Is that 60mm? I guess it could be 60mm, could be standard 8. And that would go into a briefcase so they could film someone. I would love to get a KGB briefcase camera. God knows where you can get one. Maybe some flea market in Russia. Yeah, very cool. Says crazy. What's this one? I've got my notes here. This is a Salyut. Oh my God, a K1. Salyut. I haven't even talked about the Soviet space program. They used cameras, as you know, in the space program, and they had to produce special cameras for that. This was produced for the Salyut program. They had to make cameras that were electric, but didn't have the same kind of electric mechanism that could cause sparks on those spacecraft, because sparks are a bad thing. You know, they could ignite the oxygen in the atmosphere, and you know, you're going to have a bad day, as several Soviet cosmonauts discovered. So this is a Salyut. Look at this. This was developed for the Soviet moon landing, which never happened. That's a K2 moon camera. Amazing looking thing. There's another picture of it here. That's in it. That's a later one. Insane. I mean, walk down the street with one of those, you're going to get a few looks. Go to your kid's birthday party with a Soviet moon camera. Why not? Everyone's going to ask you questions about that, and you can bore the hell out of them with telling them all about this. I don't know if any of those are available to the public. What's this? This is a K3. Yeah, I was talking about that brushless electric motor that these things. They had some kind of weird system of rotating magnets to turn the film round that wasn't the same as a regular electric motor, because they're worried about sparks coming off it. Yeah, wanna have, says Crazy. Yes, I would love one of those. What have we got here? Oh, there's a picture of the cosmonauts with that camera on the Salyut spacecraft. It could have been on the Mir. I don't know. Later on, I think they used video, but yeah, that's that was on a Salyut. Here's a quite familiar looking. Well, not familiar. But this is Quartz 8XL2. This is a more standard Super 8 camera. Did it have batteries? I think it's a battery run one. This one. This is one of the later ones. See that funny cartridge there? We'll be going into those later. That's a Katsuyama reloadable Super 8 cartridge. So Super 8 one there probably wasn't taken up in space. One of the later Super 8 cameras. Oh my God, I love this. This is a photo sniper. I haven't even touched on the stills cameras that they made, and to be honest, I'm not going to. This show would be 5 hours long if I went into every camera the Soviets ever made. But this is called a photo sniper, and it actually literally had a pistol grip and a trigger and a shoulder rest, so that you could lie down under a hedge if you're the KGB, and look at some possible dissident or whatever, and hit the trigger and take a photo, which would then be stored in the archives. Oh my God, the photo sniper. I saw one of these on sale once. It was like £1,000 or something. God help you if you're running around, if you pay £1,000 for one of these and then you're running around in the street with one of these. Yeah, you'll get plugged by the police, I bet. This is a picture sent to me with a sale receipt by Sidor Matrazov when he was talking about how much these things cost. In fact, let's talk about that. My question to him was, how popular were movie cameras and developing tanks in the USSR? Did you have to be rich to own one of these cameras, or do you have to be approved by the authorities? Were there state camera stores? All lots of questions. He answered very nicely. He said, amateur movie cameras in the USSR were not nearly as popular as in the West. They were very expensive in comparison with the average salary of a Soviet worker. For example, a Lada movie camera, never heard of that, a rather perfect model, in 1970 cost 320 rubles. The average salary was then 115 rubles. I think he's talking about monthly salary. Don't tell me they only get 115 rubles a year. But even so, we're talking about 3 months' salary. The Quartz Zoom, the one I showed you, in 1975 cost 335 rubles. The average salary is 135. Yeah, so this camera with a receipt to prove it shows that they were pricey, these cameras, for the average Soviet citizen. He said, on the other hand, developing tanks were much more common than the rest of the world. The film processing service was poorly developed. Mostly amateurs had to do it themselves. But this was offset by the low cost of development chemicals. A set for color reversible film cost 2.15 rubles. That's not bad. No permission from the authorities was required to buy a movie camera. All stores in the USSR were state-owned. Sometimes you could buy a camera from a friend's hands or from a private advertisement in a newspaper. Well, that's fascinating. In fact, while we're on the subject of the security situation of these cameras, I've got a very interesting. He said something very interesting. He said, response from Pavel was, there were many limitations in shooting. There's a good document on this topic, a memo issued to David Bowie during his trip to the USSR in 1973. It can be said that the Soviet citizens were prohibited from doing the same. In addition, it was necessary to pay attention to what the officials said, the police, the guards, about the shooting. If a police officer demanded to stop filming, even for no apparent reason, it was better to obey in order to avoid problems, which could be more serious than for Bowie. Damn right. You don't you don't want to be done for filming something you shouldn't have filmed. And in fact, let's go down that little rabbit hole here. David Bowie. I'm going to call him Bowie, not Bowie, because I grew up with everyone called him David Bowie, including everyone on TV and everything. So we're just gonna well, I'm just gonna call him David Bowie, for God's sake. You know, the guy's dead now, so you know he's not going to complain. Right, David Bowie. Here's a lovely picture of him with a Canon Canon 1210, which was basically a massive lens with a little camera on the end. Very, very nice camera. Beautiful camera. It can zoom 12 times. It's like it can zoom even more than the Canon 1014 XLS. What happened was David Bowie didn't like to fly if he didn't have to. So after doing a show, one of his Ziggy Stardust shows, you can see from the red hair, he did a show in Japan. He finished his tour in Japan, and then he took the Trans-Siberian Express. And when he got to Russia, a couple of guys on the ferry from Japan to Russia befriended him, started talking to him, started asking him about what he was up to and what he was doing. They didn't know he was David Bowie. They just thought he was a very weird-looking Westerner. Turns out they were KGB. And when he got to Russia, and when he got on the train, they gave him this document, which I have a nice printout of. I'm going to read you. The document basically tells all Westerners what they can and can't take pictures of in the USSR, which is fascinating because I grew up, I remember my mum telling me, don't know how she knew, she said, you're not allowed to even take a picture of a bridge in Russia because they'll come and get you. I thought, what? A bridge? Who cares about bridges? But yeah, it's true. So let's have a look at some of the things you are forbidden to take photographs or make drawings of. You can't even take draw a picture of these things, okay? So, firstly, in the 25-kilometer frontier zone, except for places and localities which foreigners may visit, where you may photograph the objects described in the left-hand column. That's the permitted column. It's a bit boring, the permitted column. If I have time, I'll tell you about that. It's not like it's relevant. A great picture of him in Red Square. Look at that guy beside him. That guy is keeping an eye on him for sure. Okay, you can't take pictures of military equipment, military installations, military institutions, fuel storage places. Damn, they stopped David Bowie from taking pictures of fuel storage places. Harbors in seaports, large hydroelectric installations. Obviously, the small ones are okay. Railroad junctions. That's a bit difficult if you're filming out the window of the Trans-Siberian Express. There he is, David. You can't take pictures of industrial enterprises, scientific research institutions, design offices, laboratories, electric power stations, radio beacons, radio stations, telephone exchanges. How would you even recognize one of those if you saw it? Telegraph exchanges. You also weren't allowed to take pictures from airplanes in flight over Soviet territory. That's a bit, I understand, but it's a bit sad because, you know, when you're on a plane, you've got a Canon 1210. For God's sake, you want to use that amazing zoom lens, take a picture of a few, take some film, some stuff. Surface panoramic photographs and sketches of industrial cities. So, you know, David Bowie on the Trans-Siberian Express, he must have been, he must have been a bit careful. You know, so he must have said to him, I can't take pictures of hydroelectric installations. I can't do a David Bowie speaking impression because he had a quite normal, bland voice, but everyone can do a David Bowie singing impression. Can't take military installations. Where am I going to get my inspiration? There we go. There's a song right there. And the stuff you can take pictures of, well, it's a bit boring. Stadiums, streets and squares, housing, scenes and landscapes, providing none of the objects listed in the right-hand column or in the background. You can take pictures of state and collective farms. That's fascinating. Civilian airports. Well, that's surprising. I thought airports would be right off the list. river, ports, social organizations. These are stuff you can film. Theaters, parks of culture and rest, stadiums. Oh, I said that. Architectural monuments, cultural and medical institutions. So they basically were concerned that David Bowie was going to go around, that he was basically an MI6 spy, and take pictures of all their military installations from the Trans-Siberian Express. Amazing bit of history there. Manny says, those are all my favorite things to shoot. Fuel dumps are so cool. Fuel dumps. Oh, look, there's a fuel dump. I'm going to take a picture. Ground control. Anyway, there was a metal detector in McDonald's when I was at Red Square, says UK Airsoft. I assume that was after the fall of communism, when everything became a bit more dangerous, even more dangerous than it was before. There was, in fact, I mentioned to my wife, oh my God, the Trans-Siberian Express sounds like so much fun. I'd love to do that. And she said, well, not now. She said, back in Soviet times, it was safe. Now it's not safe. I'll take her word for it. Anyway, so there we go. David Bowie, God rest his soul. I would love to know what he filmed. Damn. Right. Where were we? Oh yeah, look at this. This was a Soviet copy of an Arri 16mm camera. Very nice, very chunky. They're very big and metallic, these things. Now this was sent to me by Sidor Matrasov. This is a developing kit. This is one of the ones that only cost 2 rubles. 2 rubles. Damn, that was not expensive at all. To you, man, it says, hello, Playdale Avenue. What the hell? Oh, okay. So, okay. So I was wondering, how does he know Playdale Avenue? Because Seb Coates is in the house. Hi, Seb. Probably my daughter Lily is watching with him. Right. On we go. What have we got next? I asked my mate Pavel. I asked him how popular were movie cameras and developing tanks in the USSR. Let's put me on the big screen. Well, there's nothing else to see. Might as well look at me. Did you have to be rich? Oh, I've said that. I've read that one already. Yes. He said there were many limitations in shooting. It's just following on from the David Bowie stuff. There were many limitations in shooting. It was necessary. Oh, I've read that as well. Bloody hell, we're rattling through this now. Oh, let's have a look at some footage. Now, Pavel shot... Oops, not that. He shot some... let's have a look at some Soviet film stock. And this was sent to me by, yes, Pavel. His website is small816. This was something called Co50D, which was shot a long time ago, but only processed in 2017. Amazing that they managed to get all this color out of it. Oh, there's a Lada, lovely stuff. Some people going camping. Someone must have had a Super 8 camera. Some voices on there. So this is what color film looked like back in Soviet times. Nice. Let's look at some black and white from Pavel as well. Let's see. Oh no, this isn't black and white. This is more color. Yeah, it's a bit bleached out, but what the hell, looks good. By the way, if you find any Soviet black and white or color film, be careful, because by now, yeah, it's gone a bit off. My personal experience, the Svema stocks. I haven't tried a Svema color one, but the Svema black and whites, they work. The color stuff, I don't know. Yeah, it's up to you. Let's have a look at another one. What's this? What have we here? Again, small 816 frame. That's 27 years ago exposed. Osh 50. Oh God, I tried to develop this. It was a complete disaster. But he's had a lot more lot more luck with it than I have. This is a lot of animals in this one. Horses, cows, a deer. A deer. The back is in focus. The deer itself is slightly out of focus. Off to the gulag with you for not focusing properly. Believe it or not, gulag. You film out of focus, straight to gulag. You overdevelop your film, gulag. If you underdevelop it, again, gulag. And that kid's probably my age. Wow. Yeah, I mean, you know, it works. I mean, it's not quite as good as Kodak, but, you know, back in the day, what else, what other option did you have if you lived in the Soviet Union? I mean, really, you're lucky enough to have a camera and some film and to be able to develop it yourself. This was his music, not mine. God, I hope I don't get copyright struck for it. And finally, some Svema Zor 22. Standard 8, this stuff is. That looks really nice. I like that. Wow. I'll put some music of my own on here. Ooh, bit underexposed there. There we go. So they had color film. They were able to develop it themselves. Why not? So yeah, I mean, they had wind-up cameras. They had. Oh, this is interesting. They had film. Okay, so I asked Pavel, were there any film screening clubs where they showed short films made by people on 8mm or 16mm? He said yes. Film amateurs in the USSR were organized into clubs, but this was somewhat different from the rest of the world. There were no private organizations. All film clubs were organized by the state. From the first amateur organization in the USSR was created in 1925. It was formally headed by Dzerzhinsky, the head of the Soviet secret police. Oh my god, that must have been fun, their meetings. The work of amateur organizations was carried out on a Soviet ideological basis and could be controlled by the Communist Party and the KGB. God, yeah, just stick to the flowers, mate. You know, don't film any gas installations or anything controversial. But the control weakened and became formal by the late 1980s when Soviet independent amateur films began to appear with a script and a plot. Cinema amateur clubs were in cities and large villages, at schools and in the workshops of young technicians. Many large enterprises had their own clubs. There, under approved scripts and programs, it was possible to obtain for temporary use movie cameras and film. Moreover, the film was given out free of charge. The remnants of the film after the project could be used for yourself on tourist trips or at home. What was filmed in private conditions was not always worth showing at the club. Despite the ideological control, the cinema club system greatly helped development of amateur filming in the USSR. Many members of the clubs would not be able to purchase equipment and film, so they had clubs. You just had to be a little bit, you know, careful about what it was you filmed. Right. Are we ready for the big... Oh, God, why do I keep doing that? Are we ready for the big one? I think we are. What about 16mm? Yes, I said it. 16mm. Did the Russians make 16mm cameras? You betcha. They made... Well, I was a bit stuck for a camera. I don't actually have a Soviet 16mm camera. But then I, through contacts, through intrigue, a lovely gentleman called Maxwell was able to lend me his Krasnogorsk 3. That's right, I was stuck. And then, bang, bang, Maxwell's Soviet camera came down upon my hands. And here it is. My God. It's heavy, not quite as heavy as, well, it's about the same weight as a Bolex. And this is called a Krasnogorsk 3. And it's a nice camera. I've got to say, it's got a good weight to it, but it's got a good balance as well. Where they've put the handle is about in the middle of the balance of the balance of this. And as you can see here, it's another wind up. It's a clockwork 16mm camera. These are not unknown. Bolex did them. But of course, the Russians, they must have been like just pros at clockwork by this point. Oh dear, what's that? Let's get the, let's just zoom out a bit here because the thing's so damn big. There we go. All right, so the Krasnogorsk 3. If you want a cheap 16mm camera, and I've got to thank, Maxwell Coates and Elizabeth. I've got her surname written here somewhere. It's a double-barreled German surname. I'll do it at the end. So this is a Soviet-made Krasnogorsk 3 16mm camera, and here we go. Might as well give you the sound of that. Oh. There we go. A really heavy wind up. You're going to have to use all your power to wind this bugger up. It films at, 8, 12, 16, 24, and 32, and 48 frames per second. Let's just for keep things simple, let's keep it on 24. We're going to have more sound here. Wow. And up here is your ASA setting, I believe. Yes. On the other side, let's open it up and see what we got inside here. Yeah, I mean, you can get a 100-foot roll into one of these. It loads a bit like a Bolex, a bit like any other 16mm camera, and winds down onto here. I believe I was told that he got it for something like 100 euros, which isn't bad. Isn't bad for a camera with a 16mm camera with a zoom lens. This is your zoom, a bit like one of those other cameras. Ben Reynolds said KMZ made this, another quartz camera. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for that. Let's begin. We're going to give out as much information about this as possible. KMZ, a pretty good company, really. They pretty good state-owned design bureau. So you got your focus, your zoom, your shutter. That's about it, really. I mean, it's not a complicated camera. When you look at one of those Bolexes, I keep comparing it to the Bolex, but I'll work out how to get that thing back on in a minute. There we go. I mean, really, you just got to shoot, focus, and zoom. And there you go. 16mm. A Krasnogorsk. How much are these worth? Well, how much can you get one nowadays for? Let's have a look. Let's have a gander at the eBay. Oh dear, I'm in the way. Let's get off there. Right. Krasnogorsk 3. Here's one for 250, 209. Believe it or not, these are not bad prices for a 16mm camera. 295. Wow, that comes with everything. You got all your lenses and everything with that. This one, oh, I like that. I like that. That's got a shoulder mount as well. See that thing? Yeah, nice shoulder brace. The full set for 380. So yeah, about the £300 mark. It's funny because, you know, some of the really good Super 8 cameras are about 300 quid. And, you know, why not? If you're thinking of getting a Super 8 camera for £300, have a look at the Krasnogorsk 3. Just try and find one that, you know, wasn't made in an afternoon at the end of the month. Good luck with that. Yeah, it's a I mean, I haven't shot anything in it yet. I have to give it back tomorrow. And while we're here, this is I'm going to give a plug. I'm going to give a plug to analogproducts.com. That's analog with 2 N's. Elizabeth Shader-Bishin and Maxwell Coates, they experiment with historical photographic processes, and this is their website, analogproducts.com. Go there if you want to buy cyanotype and a kit here for a Matchbox camera, which is amazing. Matchbox camera. That's like some kind of I can't get it up any further. said the bishop to the actress. Yeah, the Matchbox camera is a, I guess it's a kind of a pinhole kind of thing. The cyanotype is amazing as well. Cyanotypes, I mean, God, we're getting off subject here, but cyanotype, you can make this kind of thing with cyanotypes. It's great. You lay stuff on top of this light sensitive paper and then develop it, and it makes this incredible blue images. Lovely stuff. So yeah, thanks to Maxwell and to Elizabeth for letting me borrow their Krasnogorsk 3. Let me get it back where it belongs. Where does it belong? Oh my God, we're not even. We've done the cameras. We haven't done the Lomo, the Lomo tanks. We haven't even done the rechargeable, reloadable cassettes. Oh lordy, we're behind. Okay, all right. I'll try and. I mean, maybe I should do a separate episode all about this. But these are the Katsiema reloadable cartridges. And in fact, you can buy these. You can buy these from Sidor Matrasov's shop, which is called small8-16frame.com. And he's got great stuff. He's got all this like developing kits. He sells the film that you can use. He sells it black and white, and $26 for a cartridge of Super 8. What a bargain! He's also on eBay as Cube Paul, and he sells all these different cartridges and developing kits. There's the Katsiema cartridge right there. £10.83. That's a bargain. I'm telling you. You buy one of these things and you are set for life, because you'll be able to load your own Super 8. He sells spools as well. Yeah. Oh my God, you can have fun with this stuff. So what is this thing? What is this Katsiema reloadable Super 8 cartridges? Let's see what he says about them. He said, I've just unplugged my headphones by mistake. About the Katsiema cartridges. He said, reusable cartridges. I have not been able to find evidence of similar products being made anywhere else in the world. Actually, I think there's a company called Adox who makes them, or who used to make them. The goal was to reduce the cost and to simplify the production of film. Film in rolls was faster in packaging and was cheaper for the consumer. The cartridge, on the other hand, was bought once, and usually there were not many of them in the hands of one film lover. On vacation and trips, they usually took 2 to 3 cartridges, which were pre-charged at home in a darkroom. Few of the film enthusiasts shot 5 to 10 cartridges. This was due to the price of the film and the complexity of processing. Usually it was necessary to do it yourself. Well, we're all about the DIY. We are. We certainly are. Sebastian Coates says, the man with a movie camera and Spike Lee's Mo Better Blues shot with a Krasnogorsk. I didn't know that about Mo Better Blues. Shot with a Krasnogorsk. Amazing. Huh. Well, how about that? So here's how the cartridges came. This is a dummy cartridge, so don't worry about me exposing it. It came in a sort of a tin inside a box. So you open this expecting a Super 8 cartridge, then you get this tin. And you switch all the lights off, or you put it in a changing bag. Inside that was a black bag. What's that? And inside the black bag was a white piece of paper. And inside that was your roll of Super 8 film. And this you would load into one of these. Okay. I've loaded this already with leader, with white leader, because that way you can see what's going on inside this thing. So there's your take-up space. Actually, I should show you the other side first. The whole thing's going to fall apart now. Oh, crap. I've gone and taped it shut. Should have worked this out before I did this show. Let's just take that tape away. Okay, here we go. So you would load your film Of course, not much of it is loaded in here, but you would load this into this side and then feel your way through and thread the film round this little wheel here, over the top and around. And then it gets exposed and it gets taken up. You have to thread it through here. You have to attach it to this little wheel here. And that is how one of these reloadables work. You have to learn how to do all of this stuff in complete darkness. And let me tell you, that's no picnic. It takes a little bit of practice. Here's something I did which helps the process along. Where is it? Oh, bloody hell. I think it's round the corner. Just hold on a minute. This is going to be worth it. I haven't gone far. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Right. So, in order to know exactly... I'll plug myself back in here. So, in order to know exactly what you're up to and what you're doing inside the cartridge, what I did was I took photos of it. I took photos of of the insides of these cartridges, and I put them on pieces of card. The entire process I photographed in light, put it on card, 2 cards actually, one for each side of the cartridge, and then I would prop these up, and if you can see what the architecture of the inside of one of these cameras is, it makes it a lot easier to feel your way around it and to load one of these things up. See? I've used these so many times. They're really useful. And on the other side, hey, a focus chart and color bars. So very handy. About like an hour's work, and it's very handy. And nowadays, actually, I don't even need those. It's truth. I just do it by feel. You get such a sense for the inside of these Katsuyama cartridges that if you photograph the inside, that's just to get you going. Nowadays, I do it without the boards because I can. Ah, my God! What are the comments? Super 8 Rescue. What a fabulous idea! Thank you, Super 8 Rescue. Yes, in fact, you know what? Going off topic for a second here. The more you do this stuff, the more you do this darkroom stuff, loading of these cartridges, loading of the cameras, opening the cameras, closing the cameras, all by touch, you get a real sense. You gain, and I'm not exaggerating here, you gain a superpower. You understand, your hands become extensions of your eyes. In fact, it's even easier to do this stuff with your eyes shut, even though you can't see what you're doing. If you shut your eyes and you feel for this stuff, you can tell, you can see it. I swear to God, you can see it. It's like when people go blind, you get special, powers of hearing and stuff. You can get, if you practice enough, you will be able to touch things and be able to see them as well. I think the brain makes synaptic connections between your visual cortex and your touch parts of your brain. I'm not boasting or anything. It took a long time to do this. If you've ever read the Roald Dahl story, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, it's a great story. Where a guy, he trains himself to be able to see right through playing cards, so he makes a fortune in the casinos. Roald Dahl wasn't messing about. That stuff's true. If you do it often enough, you can see with your hands. And it's great. It's very relaxing as well. To shut your eyes, put your hands in a changing bag, and to load one of these up is no longer a stressful experience. It's actually one of the few moments of peace in my week. Right. What else? Well, the big one. I've been saving it. Well, how are you going to process this stuff? You're going to use one of these. This is a Lomo tank. In fact, I got 2 of them here. This is the small one, which which has 2 hoses and can take 10 meters. So not quite one roll of Super 8. 10 meters, which will take a whole roll of Standard 8. And then there's the big one, which is this one. That will take a whole 15 meters of Super 8. To be honest, I kind of like using the small one. I mean, when I have to do a whole roll of Super 8, of course I use this one. But this one's good for just developing bits and pieces. You see, once you've got one of these, and you've got one of your reloadable cartridges, you no longer have to wait for an entire cartridge to be done before developing it. And that is a big deal. It's a big deal because you can just shoot a bit of a cartridge. Suppose you've got some, expired film. You're not really sure how you can develop it. You can just shoot a few tests, run it through the development, and then take the rest, open up the rest of your cartridge, put it into a Katsuyama, and then shoot the rest of it with knowledge of how the first lot started. You see, otherwise you've got to go and, film an entire roll and then trust to luck. What sort of cost are these tanks? Super 8 Rescue asks. Good question, because I've done the homework, of course. Let's have a look. Lomo tanks. Oh, what am I doing up on the screen? Right. Okay. They're not particularly cheap, but when you think about how much it costs to actually send one of these to a lab, you are going to save money in the end. This one, £147, 194, 130. This one only 104. That's the small one, 104. So you're looking at about 100 quid for a small one, and about 150 or so. Oh, this 47, 60, plus 56, 34 postage. There are new old stock ones of these. If you splash out, there's a guy literally in Siberia who has a seemingly endless supply of these things. New ones, or rather ones that were made in the, 60s, 70s, and have still not been used. He must have a whole warehouse full of them. I reckon the Soviet factory was, was overproducing at one point. And they're still around. They're still on sale. So import duty, says John Oates. Yeah, well, is that a Brexit thing? I don't know. I don't know. I got one of these. I don't think I got charged for import duty. I don't think the VAT people even knew what the hell this was. So make sure the 15-meter one is the big one. The 10-meter one is the small one. And like I said, I quite like the small one. It's good for test strips. You can develop a Standard 8, a whole Standard 8 in it. That's the other thing. They take Super 8 and they take Standard 8, depending on the oh, my nitrile gloves split. I tell you, these nitrile gloves, they're utter bollocks. Don't ever buy Unicare nitrile gloves. They're terrible. So the way these things are, they're a kind of modular. Okay, this one's set up here for Super 8. But if it comes with various different platters, you can do double decker. You can do 2 Super 8s at once. You can do 2 16 mils at once. You can do 1 16 mil. They're very, very adaptable depending on what you want to develop. The idea is that I'm going to show you. Why not? I mean, we're way over time here, but it's not like I've got some producer on my case saying you've got to stop. You got to finish talking now because we've run out of time. This is the internet. We've got all the time in the world, so I'm going to show you this. Right. Let's get a new nitrile glove. That's awful. Unicare. Screw you. Right. Okay. I mean, this is like I said. When I was looking at my plans for tonight, I had no idea how I was going to fit all of this in. But then I realized, just relax, just do it. Okay, firstly, this is important. You have to pull your film out of the cartridge and put it onto a reel. Unfortunately, you can't get it straight out of the cartridge and onto one of these things. It's not going to happen. Your film will unspool and go everywhere. So once your film is on a reel, of course, you got to do all that in the changing bag or in a dark room. Now, I've made a film. It's actually one of my most successful, or in terms of views, films about how to load one of these Lomo tanks. Unfortunately, I made a big error in that film, and that is I told people to load this film with the holes, the sprocket holes, up. Don't do that. You put them down, because the film rests into these grooves in a spiral. And it's better to have the holes in the spiral where it doesn't matter if it gets developed or not. And the holes, I said you put them holes up. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, it's to my great shame, but I won't take the film down. I made an addendum to the film, made an erratum saying, you know, holes up, holes down, holes down. Yes, that's it. This is standard 8 film, doesn't matter. Standard 8, Super 8. I mean, okay, you're not going to have a roll of standard 8 like looking like this. I'm just using this as a demo. So don't write in. Let's zoom in a bit here. Here we go. Let's zoom in so we can see what the heck I'm talking about. Oh, come on. There we go. That's better. That's even better. That's much better. All right. So you start off with the lower platter. Okay. No doubt Super 8 Rescue shooting a bit of a cart is choice. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Manny. Super 8 Rescue. Yeah, well, anyway, I'm not going to get involved with the comments right now because I have to concentrate. Okay, so you've got your exposed, undeveloped film into your cart. Okay, this is all inside the bag, all no light at all. Feel around for it. What you've got is this little kind of V-shaped bit here. So you take your end of your film, you thread it this way and then up through the V. Best to make a fold at the end first. You know, my original idea was to do this entire thing blindfolded, just to show you that I could do it. But, you know, we're not going to, I don't have all night. So you put it through the V shape and into this little compartment here, like that. And then you very carefully turn it round. It makes a hairpin bend around this bit here. Give it a little bit of a kink in the film so it folds around there. And then it goes around this wall bit here. There's a bit of a plastic wall here. So let it go around, feel for it, feel that the film is along there. When you feel the end of the wall here, stop unrolling, or rather stop rotating it. It's ready to go into the spiral. So you have to clear the edge of it and put it a bit flat like that. Okay. And when you feel it like that, it's in there, it's coming off the end here, right? It's time to put the top plate on, the lid. This is easy because I can see what I'm doing. It's less easy when you can't. So you do that, and then you put this spindle thing, and this spacer here. This is part of the system they have. So to make sure that this thing is going to put these two together for Super 8. So you put that in there, turn it around. You can feel the threads catch. There it goes. Very important. Don't keep this film kind of flat when you're doing this. Okay, kind of flat. So you basically then turn this around. Oh, it's so nice to be able to see this happening. Turn it around. Keep this flat so it doesn't. So it goes into the spiral. It will right itself vertical as you turn it. Okay, so you just turn. Oops. And there we go. You keep turning. You hold this bit at this end, so it's slightly at an angle, maybe a 45-degree angle, so it goes in. And in it goes, bit by bit. Okay, it's unspooled from this from here. This is something that happens. So it's the hardest part of this all. There it goes, and it goes round and round like that. There we go. Once you got into a rhythm of it, you just keep turning and turning, and as you can see, the film just goes into the spiral. Okay, that's messed up right there. Okay. and it'll go round and round and round. Okay, all right, I've messed it up again. Even being able to see it, I've done it. So let's just keep spiraling there, round and round and round, and there it goes. And boom. See, it's going right round that spiral. And that spiral is holding the film in place here. If you don't know whether it's going right or not, just feel between these holes. Feel that little, there, yeah, feels good, feels good, feels good. Keep on going. It will take you a few goes. Do this in light, so you can try this a few times before you actually do it in the dark. And once this thing is full of film, all you do, simple enough, is to put it inside the pot. I'm going to zoom out a bit now because we need to see what we're doing here. Right. Once it's all inside the pot, forget this nonsense here. Once the film has run out, your 50 feet of film will be all the way to the edge. Then you put this on, put it in there, turn it so it locks. Then you can take it out of the bag, and everything else you do can be in daylight or in light. And the idea is you pour your developer, your fixer, your rinse, or anything. You put it in the top. It doesn't get the film is protected. It won't get exposed. What you can also do is put a funnel on the end of this pipe here to channel the fluid straight into it from the bottom. It's up to you. I quite like using the pipe, the funnel and the pipe actually, because it's quick. It goes in there quicker and it helps your timings. However, and this is something I've only realized recently, this spindle thing has a hole in it. Not that there's something wrong with it. Well, it is in a way. It's a wrong design. See that little hole there? That hole. God, this nitrile glove has gone wrong. That hole can let light in. So be careful. It's actually probably a good idea to tape that up. I've read people saying if you don't tape it up, then the light can actually occasionally go in through the top, through that hole, and then expose part of the film. So that's a caveat. I would tape that hole up. You get not a horrible light leak, but occasional light leakages happening in there. Oh, look, lots more comments. Rubber gloves interfere with the correct charging of the movie. Hey, Vladimir Strozov is there. Yeah, I know. But the thing is, fingerprints also interfere with the film because, you know, if you get finger marks on your film, if you're touching it and everything, it can stop the developer from hitting the film in that place. So you can actually get marks on the film from touching it, and you get something called the film sweats, which is where your hands get all sweaty while you're doing all of this. Sweat covers the film, it covers the emulsion, it interferes with the development. It's up to you, really. You know, wear the gloves if you feel like you can do it with gloves. I would recommend the gloves. If not, well, if you think you can do it with nice dry hands, I don't know, my hands tend to sweat. Then do it. So that's your Lomo tank. That's a very basic Lomo tank. I've made a film, like I said, a more detailed film about loading one of these. By all means, go to my YouTube channel and watch it. But remember, holes down. I said holes up in the video, in the film. Ignore that. Your holes should be down and into the grooves. And there you go. You've developed your own film. Thank you to the USSR for showing us the way. Right. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Do we have anything else to show you there? No. My God, I think we're nearly done. An hour and a half has gone by. My God, it's just flown by. You know, there's a lot of stuff I missed out on. You know, there's all the stills cameras, the Lomo stills cameras, the Lomo Kino. There's other Soviet-made cameras. I think we're done. I think we're about done. Oh my God, Vladimir's got 3 UPB-1 tanks. Good for you, mate. I've got 2 big ones and 1 small one. The only reason I got 2 big ones is the first one I bought was a bit of a lemon. Yeah, it's a bit crap. It was the top plate was all warped, and it's handy to have 2 tanks if you want to transfer stuff from one to the other. And it's if you want to, sometimes there's a way of doing it where you get 1 tank and you can take the whole spiral out of 1 tank and the other tank's ready with your stop bath and you just plunge it straight in. Adrian Cousins taught me about that. It's called the dunking method, and it actually is a very good way to rapidly stop your developing so that your timing is absolutely right. Oh, right. I think we're done. Unfortunately, there's no Super 8 film to show you this week. I was hoping to get hold of some Soviet propaganda films. Unfortunately, they're quite difficult to source on Super 8. However, next week I will be talking about 16mm. So I'm going to make up for it. I'm going to make up for the lack of an 8mm film this week by doubling up next week and actually going into 16mm. Yes, you heard me right. I've got Mike Long coming on from Frameboy24. He's a bit further down the path of 16mm than I am. And between now and then, I'm going to shoot a bit of 16mm. Oh my God, I have doubled. I've gone up in the world. I'm going to go up in the world. Tonight was fun, everyone. I mean, there is more to tell you. There is so much more, but I have to go now because I haven't finished my vodka. In fact, here's something that I was going to show you. It's an actual bottle, a jug handle bottle of real Soviet vodka from the 1980s. Oh, I think it was in the 80s. It was given to my dad in the 1980s. And we've been using it in the family to clean tape heads and to sterilize fermentation equipment. There's about 2 drops of it left. So, Nozdrovya! Isn't that what they say for cheers? Let's see what the Soviets... I'm going to have a bit of authentic Soviet-made vodka to finish up on. That's about as disgusting as you can probably imagine. Oh my God, there's definitely alcohol in it, but there's something else. It tastes plasticky. Oh, well, okay. Okay, here's to the Soviet Union, wherever it went. And here's to its camera industry. Right. Salut, Manny says. Those crazy Walter something says do aviatnia. Okay, but here's some rather nice Scottish gin, which I'm gonna. Yeah, that's a little bit nicer than the Soviet stuff. Anyway, good night, everyone. This has been great. Next week, 16mm. Oh my God, we are going to the big leagues with 16mm. And until then. Let's have a little bit of I don't know, a bit of copyright-free Russian music. Thanks all for joining me. I think the only thing we've learned tonight is if you're going to buy a Soviet camera, I don't know, cross your fingers and hope you got one that was made during the beginning of the month. And until next week. Till next week, I'm going to be shooting 16mm. Thanks all for joining me, and I'll see you then. Bye. And what's the word? What is it? Do svidaniya. You're all communists.